What's going on, you guys? Gaming Addict here. So XO19 has officially come and gone. We have a bunch of information coming out of that event, and let's talk about it. Let's go over exactly what was said. I have a list of everything that was announced there. Let's go over if I think it was a good show. It's going to be a complete review on XO19. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get on with this video. Microsoft threw me a little off guard with what they opened up with. I was convinced that they were opening up with Wasteland 3. I thought they were going to open up with Wasteland 3 and then go from there, but actually they opened up with Star Wars, the game that Respawn's making. And this is a great choice because they didn't spend too long on it. So the next announcement they made was actually something that threw me off guard. It was the Rare's new IP. And the reason it threw me off guard is because they pretty much opened up with this. If you don't want to count the Star Wars, they went into like a little opening thing that has Star Wars, and then bam, the first thing they really show is the new IP from Rare. So it's a game called Everwild. I think Sea of Thieves more land focused. That's all we really got. It was cinematic, obviously. I've been told this game is nowhere close to being done, but I thought it was interesting that, well, we got this information almost right off the gate. So, it was a good way to start it, that's for sure. And the next one, something that I was really disappointed with, they come out there, they're like, here's Obsidian's new IP. I'm hyped at this point. I'm sitting here, my eyes are glued to the screen, and some game named Grounded come up. Now, I'm not gonna, clown on this game or anything like that. I was expecting an RPG focused game, but it ended up they making a survival game. What it is everyone shrink, the main characters shrink, and they're surviving in a shrinked world. Now that seems like a really cool concept. The problem is we didn't really get a whole lot of gameplay. I know they're doing some stuff tomorrow, so maybe we'll see more on that, but we didn't get gameplay. We got like another cinematic that we got for Everwild. Now they are having a beta that it's going to be in the preview program. So we'll see. Maybe this is a good game. Maybe Obsidian can make more than just RPGs. We'll see. So the next game they announced was West of Dead. It's clearly an indie game, and what I wanted to point out the most about it is think more Ghost Rider. And Ghost Rider, what I mean by Ghost Rider is this game is so much like Ghost Rider, you would think they're gonna get sued for how much this game looks like Ghost Rider. But we'll see what this game does. It's definitely gonna go in Game Pass, I would assume. It's one of those games where I don't think you would really intentionally look out and buy it, but it's one of those games that if you see it on Game Pass, you would download it and just try it out. The next announcement was everyone's favorite game, Sea of Thieves. It was a new expansion that's coming out. What can I say? Sea of Thieves is Sea of Thieves. Love it, hate it. A lot of people love this game to death, and I'm not one of them. I actually don't mess with Sea of Thieves whatsoever. But I'm glad Microsoft's supporting it and rewarding the fans of this brand. So they announced Rust. I know this has been a game for a while, I believe. I don't know nothing about it. This did nothing for me, but I'm sure there's a big portion of people that saw that and they went crazy. But I'm not one of those people, so let's move on. Next game they announced was a game called Kart Rider. I will say it's crossplay. That's cool. But we're not going to even really go into this game too much because when I really go into and review this as a showcase, I'm going to be talking about this game a little bit, so stay tuned. We see a little bit more when it comes to Bleeding Edge. We actually saw a new character. We saw a release date, believe it or not. It wasn't even that too far off. They showed a little bit more information on what comes to the beta. So, we are seeing these games have a release date pretty soon, to be honest with you. So that's a really nice thing now. Bleeding Edge isn't for everyone. I enjoyed a little bit what I played at E3 and the couple of the closed betas that I was in. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to really see what this game comes out and how it fine-tunes itself over the period of time with updates. After Bleeding Edge, they actually announced a Planet Coaster. That's right, you guys. They announced a Roller Coaster Typhoon looking game. It looked cool. I'm not going to really go too much into it. Apparently, it's a huge hit on Steam. I don't care. I probably will download this. As much as I want to come up here in front, say I'm not going to play this, I'll probably download it. One day I'll get bored, and I'll sit down on my Xbox or my PC, whatever I feel like playing that day, and I'll look on the screen and be like, oh, look, there's Planet Coaster. I'm going to go appear offline so no one can call me a fraud, and I'm going to play it. Now, the next game is by the people that made Life is Strange. I'm a huge fan of Life is Strange. Life is Strange, the first one, those 5 episodes, is some of the best storytelling I think I've played in a very long time. The game was called Tell Me Why, and believe it or not, to my knowledge, this is owned by Microsoft. It's kind of surprising that they had a second party in here. For some reason, I felt like since they were buying so many studios, they're going to try to lay off the second parties, but it's looking like they're doing both. They're going to have a little bit of second parties in here, and they're going to, you know, really put money into their first parties. So it was nice that they had a second party game. Now, I don't remember the actual studio's names, but the moment I saw Life is Strange 2, the creators of Life is Strange 2, I was all in. Then they announced a couple more indies. I'm not going to really go into them too much. They didn't really appeal to me at all. If you like them, I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there. A game called 1972, I'm pretty sure that was the name. And a game called The Artful Escape with the guitar stuff. I'm not going into those. I don't care about those whatsoever. But you got the name. You can go do the research yourself. Now, they brought up Xcloud. For me, I'm not the biggest fan of Xcloud. It's not that I don't really care about it. I don't really have a whole lot of access, and if I'm outside of my house, 9 times out of 10, I'm playing a Nintendo Switch. That could change if, you know, I get my hands on Xcloud, because I wasn't one of the people put in the beta. But as of right now, I know Lord Cognito is a huge fan of it. But it's not doing nothing to me, because especially since I'm not in it. One of the things that they announced is that they're actually putting more games in the program itself. And EA actually jumped in this program. So I believe, I don't know if it's anytime soon, but sooner or later you'll be able to play Madden in Xcloud. And I think that's a huge thing. Madden is a huge game. It wins MPDs a couple times of the year most of the time. So this is a perfect game to really push Xcloud forward. Next thing they did is a bunch of Black Friday sales. I'm not going to really go into it too much. Definitely look it up. I'm sure you can Google that in a couple seconds to figure out if there's anything that apply to you. But we're going to move on. This next set of information, you can look at the reaction that the Iron Lords podcast did. Kid Smooth flipped out. I don't even know if he'll ever play this. But all the Yakuzas are coming to Xbox. And not only are they coming to Xbox, they're coming to Game Pass. And I felt like this was huge. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I probably won't play this game. But the good thing about the selective Yakuzas that are coming to Xbox and they're going to Game Pass, and I don't know if this is all of them because I've never played any of them, so I don't know how many they are, but it was like 3 or 4 of them. The good thing about this is the fact that a lot of people haven't played this on the Xbox brand, and they're not going to give it a try because it's so old. But you put it in Game Pass, you give it options to the people subscribed in Game Pass, and they're like, look, like, I want to try this game out. I've heard stuff about it. It's just a click away since I've subscribed to Game Pass. They're willing to try this brand out, this franchise out, because they're subscribed to Game Pass. So when they try it out, they become fans of it because they had the access to this game. And then if the next Yakuza comes out on Xbox and it sells decent, we won't be banished to not getting another sequel because they're selling decent and it's worthy of putting it on this platform. Another indie called Drake Hollow. You can go Google that. My bad. Then the next part, I kid you guys not. It was a commercial pretty much for All Access. And it was literally a chick sitting down in a chair getting a tattoo talking about All Access. I couldn't make this stuff up. This is by far the most cringe-worthy thing in this entire show, which is not bad because usually they have like 5 of these things in most of these inside Xboxes. So just one, I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with how it went. I would have preferred it not to have been in there, but it is what it is. Then, guess what? They announced Halo Reach coming to PC, coming to Windows, coming to Game Pass and the Master Chief Collection. Everyone knew this was coming. There was not one time where I did not think that this was going to be at this event. But a lot of people really like Reach. I personally consider Reach the best story of all the Halos. So it was nice, it's the 4K treatment, the whole 9 yards it looked like. And I hope that this really sends a message to the Steam users, and I hope they support this. It seems like they are. I saw a tweet and a screenshot on Twitter that said this was like the most sold thing or the most pre-ordered thing on Steam. So it's looking like the PC people are going to support it, because one thing you can't say, if PC people really mess with your game, they're going to support you. Flight Simulator, what can I say? I'm not a big fan of this. I'll probably try it because I'm kind of intrigued by what I saw. It's a graphically amazing looking game, something that's not for me, but I am aware that I am not the center of the universe. There's going to be more people that love more types of genre than me. Flight Simulator is not for me, but I'm sure there's multiple people out there that would want to play this game. It looked good. It looked like something that I would try because it's on Game Pass, but it never looks like something that I would buy or even download day one on Game Pass. But for those of you that like this, and for those of you that have been looking forward to Flight Simulator, I hope that's exactly what you wanted. Once again, for this next announcement, go and look at that reaction with the Iron Lords podcast. I can't begin to describe to you and stress to you enough. It's way better if you see our reactions live. They announced Age of Empire 4. I did not care about this game before I saw the gameplay. We actually have a friend and a supporter of the Iron Lords podcast, a supporter of the realm, the Lord Death Singer. He is a huge fan of this game. So he was going in there on a 9, I was going on there at like a 3. When I saw the gameplay, he was still at a 9, maybe even a 10. And I went up to like a 6 or a 7 because I used to be a huge supporter of RTSs. And you guys that have been around for a little bit, you know that I'm a huge fan of Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2. And when I saw this, I was like, yo, I might try this. I got a decent PC now, so I'm probably going to download that because guess what? It's in Game Pass. Then they announced that popular first-person shooter that's across seas, Crossfire. It looked like a decent game. It was definitely one of those games that makes you look at it and be like, you know what, I might try it, might not try it, depends on what's coming out, depends on how bored I am at that time. It doesn't look like my cup of tea. I'd rather play like Battlefield or Destiny over it, but it didn't look bad. It looks something that's definitely worthy of being in Game Pass, that you can just click, download it, and try it. Apparently Remedy is making the single player, so it's going to come to the Xbox with a little bit more value than it doesn't have on the PC, which is cool. I'm pretty confident the PC will get the Remedy single player expansion. But you know, let's see. Remedy makes decent single player experiences. You guys know I wasn't the biggest fan of Control, but they do make good games. So let's see how that goes. Then they announced some weird indie game called Last Stop. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. I didn't even really look into it. It kind of looked interesting. A little bit looked like it has a little bit of dialogue. You know, I'm going to be sure to put all the gameplay from every game I'm talking about in the background. Besides the games I just missed, I might just literally go from one game straight to the next on those types of games. But Last Stop looked interesting. It's on Game Pass, so I hate to keep saying that, but I didn't think that's a game that I'd buy straight day one. But it's a game that I might download when I'm bored in the middle of a July waiting for something. After that, we got a little bit more of info when it comes to Minecraft Dungeons. At first, I wasn't a huge fan of Minecraft Dungeons. It looked like a generic Diablo, but looking at more and more info on this game, it looks like something that you can play with your friends. It's in Game Pass, so you know, obviously it will be more accessible to all your friends, and it'll be easier to have them download it than to buy something as long as they're subscribed to Game Pass. So it looks like a game that I might actually try. And for everyone that has actually got their hands on this, I saw it at E3, but I wasn't waiting in the line to play. It looks fun. This next one, like I said, I cannot stress enough. Check out that description, get that reaction, look at this live. It was Final Fantasy. Every Final Fantasy that's out on Xbox is coming to Game Pass in 2020. I was a little disappointed it was 2020. I was expecting it right then and there, but that's fine. When I saw this, I lost my marbles. And when I mean lost my marbles, I lost every single marble in my head, and I have to bend over and pick all of them little bastards back up so I can regain my composure. It was crazy. And then, after I got all my marbles back in order, and I was seeing straight, I wasn't seeing in color anymore, guess what they did? They dropped another bomb for me. They dropped Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Finally, they're coming to Xbox. After years of wanting this, they're finally coming to Xbox. And guess what, you guys? They're in Game Pass. After that, you know, they announced a bunch of games coming to Game Pass day one. Now let me go ahead and focus on this next one. I'm going to explain to you first. They ended it with Phil Spencer giving a speech on what first party means to him and what he needs to do with the Xbox brand. And then after that, they ended the show with Wasteland 3. So that's the whole show from start to finish. You know, Google anything you want more in-depth details on. So let's go ahead and give my perspective on this event. Thought it was a good event. I gave the event about a 7 out of 10. I feel like there's certain things that could have done to improve it drastically. Things that could have made it from a 7 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. But once again, Microsoft messes up on certain pacing of an event that should have been remedied. For instance, let's go over Kart Racer. Kart Racer is not even that big of a game in any no means. But it felt like they spent more time on that than they did even stuff like Wasteland 3. They do this even at E3. They've been doing this for years. Spend more time on your games than other games. Why is some people coming out and doing a race on Kart Racer when you're not giving that same concept to games like Wasteland 3? It blew my mind. I didn't understand. Let's talk a little bit about Phil Spencer giving a speech at the end and then ending with Wasteland 3. At this point, hardcore thinks when Phil Spencer comes out on that stage, he about to drop some bombs. But guess what happened? He didn't drop any bombs. He gave a little speech of what the Xbox brand means to him and what he wants to do going here on forward and what he's done and what he needs to improve on. And then he passed it to the people with Wasteland 3 and they ended it with that. That's something Matt Booty could have done. When you say something like Phil Spencer is going to be at this event, the first thing a lot of hardcore people think is we're going to have a studio acquisition or he's going to announce a really big AAA title. I don't even like using that term, but we're going to get a huge bomb drop. And I'm just saying from here going forward, please, Microsoft, if Phil isn't going to come out there and announce something, keep his ass off the stage, because that just gets people hyped and pretty much building people up to fail. And I don't blame them, because you put Phil Spencer on the stage, the man that announced all those studio acquisitions, the man that came. And what's funny is if you think about it, he didn't even announce Obsidian and Exiles. So they could have just did what they did last year. I just don't get why Phil Spencer had to be there and end the show with Phil Spencer talking. That's beyond me. Another thing we're going to talk about is Grounded, Obsidian. When people see Obsidian come up, guess what they think? They think huge RPG, not even necessarily huge, but a very in-depth RPG. I can't wait to play because that's what Obsidian makes. No one wanted Grounded. I'm not saying that the game isn't welcomed. I'm sure a lot of people's going to enjoy it. Hell, I might even enjoy it. But when people see Obsidian, they want an RPG. So you should have made this very clear that this was not an RPG. We shouldn't have to have the Dealer Gamings on Twitter telling us it's not an RPG. You should have kept our expectations realistically in check. And I get that you can't say stuff like that, but when I see Obsidian up on that field, I expect Obsidian games, not whatever Grounded was. That's just my rant. Not saying it was wrong, not saying it was right, but I'm saying what I saw on there, it was a decent show. But what could have, some small little things could have made it from decent to big to great. But that's it anyway. That's my thoughts on XO 2019. I'm going to go ahead and close it up. I had a couple more things I wanted to say about my rant, but I wanted to end it because it's going on to 18 minutes. And I know a lot of you ain't going to get to this far anyway, but anyone that does get to this far, I appreciate every single last one of you, everyone that even watched the video. Hit that likes up button if you don't mind. I'll always appreciate the support. Share it to all your friends that like my content. Get to as many people as possible. And until next time, this is Addict Review, and we're done reviewing XO19. See you later.
Them to know from me that I hear them, we're on it, and we'll continue to do the hard work to bring the games that you want on our platform.
Okay. I'm going to let them cheer at that one. That was a good one.